We have the best drug testing policy in all of sports. Find a sport that has a better drug testing policy than we do.
UFC President Dana White stopped by our studios Thursday, and on the heels of Jon Jones's latest positive drug test, we discussed whether White should enforce stricter doping penalties. Now, due to a relationship the UFC has with the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, or USADA, White explains why it's not as simple as you might think. Should the punishment be harsher?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but USADA handles that. We don't. You know, we're out of that business. We leave it to the professionals. But yeah, I don't disagree.
Michael Bisping was here not too long ago, and he thought for a guy like Jon Jones, who's been popped 3 different times for 3 different things, that he should have a lifetime ban. That is something that you have control over. Do you agree?
Legally, USADA would have to handle this thing, and USADA, whatever USADA says is what he's going to have to follow that punishment, because they work hand in hand with the Athletic Commission, whether it's Nevada or California or whatever it might be, which is essentially the government. So the government works with USADA, and they figure out what the ban is going to be. But if it came back that Jon Jones, you know, would get a 3-month suspension, legally I owe him a fight. I legally owe him a fight. I have a contract with the guy, you know.
I guess, is there a thought to put clauses in where you break your contract if you test positive for something?
It's a lot more complicated than that. In a perfect world, that sounds awesome. This isn't a perfect world.
Okay. What about Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar? This is what Jon Jones wanted before the latest positive drug test.
I highly doubt that's going to happen. Highly doubt that's going to happen. Wow. Jon Jones is going to end up probably being suspended for a very long time.
I know you are in touch with a lot of politicians, right? And of course, one of them is Donald Trump. You endorsed him. You were actually at his victory party when he won the presidency. He's sort of gotten involved in the NFL protests and kind of gotten involved in the NFL business. And I'm curious if you're surprised that he would insert himself into football.
Yeah. Listen, the whole football thing is crazy right now. You know, I wouldn't want to be the commissioner of football for anything. You couldn't pay me to be the commissioner of football. You know, if you look at that business, the NFL, you know, they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. So if you look at his salary, in my opinion, it isn't worth what that guy's got to go through on a daily basis. He can have it.
You and I have talked about this before, that you don't play the national anthem before your bouts. But I'm curious, if the president came to you and said, we want to get more patriotic, we want anthems played at all sporting events, and that includes the UFC, what would you say?
Well, I guess if the president came and asked me to do the national anthem, I'd do the national anthem, yeah.
No hesitancy about that? No.
Listen, I have no problem with the national anthem. You know, it's just all sports do it. All sports do it. I mean, in boxing, they play the national anthem of everybody involved in the fight. It takes 25, 30 minutes for the fight to start. It's just something we never did. We've done it twice. You know, we did the national anthem at 9/11, and then we did America the Beautiful last Saturday for Vegas.
Conor McGregor put up a very good fight against Floyd Mayweather, ends up getting the TKO in the 10th round. Now we're wondering who he's going to fight next. Who do you think? Nate Diaz 3?
No, Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson just won the interim title, and Conor McGregor has the 155-pound title. So that fight's a fight that makes sense, the fight that has to happen.
Any idea about timetable?
I don't. I'd like to see Conor fight before the end of the year, so we'll see.
Okay, let's talk about the bout coming up on November 4th. George St-Pierre and Bisping is the headliner. I mean, GSP is already a Hall of Famer, already a legend. He does not have to get back into the octagon. He says that he needs to fight. This is something inside of him where he doesn't feel like a complete person unless he fights. But as the promoter side of this, are you worried for him? I mean, he doesn't have to fight anymore.
No, I mean, he made this decision on his own. For whatever reason he wants to do this, that's up to him. You know, he's never lost the belt in the octagon. He walked away from it. So if he can come back and I think he wants to challenge himself at 185 pounds. He's never done that before. He's done pretty much everything else before. And I don't know if that's his motivation or if he needs the money. I don't know.
Where do you rank him in sort of the pantheon of great fighters for you personally?
Greatest 170 pounder to live. So he's the greatest ever at 170.
What does it mean to have him fighting in New York? I know obviously getting MMA legal in New York was such a big battle for you guys. You finally got it. You had the big card here. Was it UFC 200 was the big one, and now you're back again. Does it feel like it has that same energy?
Yeah, having GSP at MSG, you know, for his first fight back, it's awesome. I mean, Madison Square Garden is a place where, you know, people dream their whole life to perform or fight or whatever it may be. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Looking forward to it on November 4th, GSP. Michael Bisping. Dana White, always a pleasure. Thank you.